Hello everyone and welcome to Stefan's podcast. Hope you're having an absolutely fantastic day. This is the podcast for everything Japanese news, Japanese myths, and what's going on in my little island here. So let's jump straight into the first news story. The first news story this week is the Shinkansen has just turned 60 years old. 60 years old, can you believe it? It's getting on a bit. But I thought that these were actually made in the 80s. Actually, no, they actually came out in 1964, just before the Tokyo Olympics, the first one in 1964. So that's something to celebrate. I cannot believe that the UK doesn't have one of these, and the fact that in Japan they just run so smoothly. I googled it, and apparently there are only about 20 countries that have Shinkansens, most of them in Asia, so China and Japan. I have to say, very impressed by Japan's Shinkansens. Very quick, very fun to sit on, really, really good. I will say a little bit pricey, but so is the trains in the UK. The trains in the UK are astronomically expensive, that is for sure. It is just crazy how much the trains cost in the UK. I used to do this thing on my radio show in the morning where I could see how far I could get on a ticket down to Somerset, and very often I could get when I say how far could I get for a train ticket, I would compare the price. So say the train was, I don't know, about £100 down to Somerset. I would go on like EasyJet or something and see how far I could get for the same cost. And very often I could get to places like Germany, Turkey, Estonia, really, really, really far away for the same price as a train ticket. The train tickets are just absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. I cannot stand it. But the other news story to come out of Japan this week is the man who was wrongfully imprisoned for 48 years. 48 years, can you believe that? So this man was in prison for 48 years for a crime that he did not commit. He was let out on sort of bail while they were retrialing his case, and they found that there's no way that he could have done it, and the investigators actually believe that he may have been framed by the police. So that news was crazy when I heard that. I was like, wow, this is big news. And today, the Japanese government or just Japanese prosecutors have just said that they are 100% not going to retry the case now. So that is it. This man is free and happy to live his own life. But could you imagine 48 years in prison? The man is now 88 years old, so that just shows his life has just been completely destroyed by being in prison. He was accused of, I believe, murdering his boss and their family, and it turns out he actually didn't do it. So 48 years in prison. Can you imagine? I mean, I'm only 30 years old. 31 years old. I'm only 31 years old. He has been alive for 17 more years than me, and he spent all of that in prison. I couldn't even imagine spending my whole life in prison. So, good for him. I hope he lives a long, happy life and gets to enjoy the next maybe 12, 13 years that he has left to live. Good luck to him. What would you do if, I was thinking about this, what would be the first thing that you do when you get out of prison? And I stumbled across this YouTube channel of a guy who had been in prison for, I think it was 2 or 3 years. And the first thing that he did was go swimming in like a river or a pond. And I have to say, I was like, oh yeah, not going swimming for 2 years, that's something, isn't it? And especially doing it out in nature, I was like, oh yeah, going swimming in the sea, that must feel fantastic after being in prison. I mean, you can't even imagine just the emptiness around you. That sounds very, very nice to me. Some people don't like the sea. But what would you do? What would be the first thing that you do when you got out of prison and you were clear to leave a good life? What food would you eat? That would be a big one, I guess. So, next news story coming out of Japan for you is, this is more of a global news story, but I wanted to talk about this, and this leads to all of what's been going on in the news today. So I recently dug out, I have an old iPad. It's the iPad mini, I believe 1 or 2. And I wanted just to get books on it. And I thought, you know what, this is going to be great. I just read some books and I do that and I have some fun. Apple have completely shut down all support for it. But I thought, okay, that's not a problem. I can just get the book somewhere and then I can just stick it on the iPad. No, I can't even plug the iPad into my computer to transfer files over. I thought, okay, I must be able to email the book over to myself. Nope, can't do that. Emails completely don't work on the website at all whatsoever. Luckily, I had a Facebook account still logged onto the old iPad, and I can send Facebook messages. So I thought, okay, I'll try and send the file over via Facebook. No, can't do that. I thought, okay, I've got the links. I can do this. I'll use WeTransfer. Tried to do it on WeTransfer. No, that doesn't work either. The only way that I managed to do it is there's a Japanese file transferring site that I use, because I was like, okay, if this is going to work with old technology, I was like, the Japanese, they're very good at sticking with old college technology. So let's try this. So I tried the transfer site. It worked on one book, and I actually finished that book. And this week I wanted to read another one, and I've tried to do it today and I couldn't get it to work. I will say with this, I only spent 5 minutes on it. But it is just crazy how difficult Apple software is. It's a nightmare. I hate using it. And the fact that they've completely dropped all support is crazy. You can't download any new apps whatsoever. It's ridiculously frustrating. And what this leads me to is Google have just been ordered by a judge to allow a third-party app store so that other people can download apps from places outside the Play Store, which is great. And I hope this spills over to Apple, because I'm hoping what will happen, a load of companies will think, oh, you know what, I'm going to try and support the old iPads and try and fix this, because the fact that I can't download any apps whatsoever is just unbelievably frustrating. My mom and dad, for example, they had an old iPad and they had to go and get a new one just because they wanted to watch Netflix on it, and they got to a point where Netflix wouldn't update and wouldn't even let you watch a video, which is like, this is so frustrating. That these Apple companies, Google companies say how environmentally friendly they are, how much they do for the environment, but they can just literally brick your iPad so that you have to go and buy a new one when there's no point, which is amazing. One thing I will say about my iPad, I didn't use it that much. I've had it for 7 or 8 years. I've maybe used it a handful of times. I watched YouTube on it at some point at home, but definitely do not feel like I've used it, not like my phone, I've used it every day. That I maybe have used at the most maybe 3 or 4 times a month. So not enough to warrant getting a new one. And I was like, I only want it to read books when I'm in my taxi going to and from work. Madness. And they want you just to throw away the iPad and go get a new one. It's like, why? I just want to read books so that you can block this in 3 or 4 years in the future. No, thank you. Made me so mad. I hate it. But I'm very happy to hear that a federal judge has ordered Google to let third-party apps get on there and increase competition. I hope this spills over to Apple and that everyone now has a free market to hopefully start creating the apps that they want, and they don't have to deal with Android and Apple as much, because I know that can be an absolute nightmare. Good job. It's very rare that I hear a good case coming out from America, the UK, anything. Most cases seem to be going the wrong way, but this one was a good one. And while we're talking about books and what I was reading, I just finished reading The Black Tongue Thief, which is an absolutely fantastic book. It's by Christopher Bellingham, as I believe is how you say that. It's about a thief who has a black tongue, and he goes on this like fantasy adventure. He goes on a ship, he deals with goblins, he deals with all these sort of fantasy monsters, and it's a really, really good book. It kept me interested. I'm dyslexic and I read it and I enjoyed it. So anytime I read a book, I feel like I should tell someone else how good it is, and it's well worth a read. And I actually managed to finish it in a week, which is probably near record time for me reading a book. I once reread Holes in 2 days, and that's the quickest I've ever read a book. But I was pretty much just doing that literally all day, just reading the book. But yeah, Black Tongue Thief, if you're looking for a new book and you're into fantasy like me, it's very good. Very, very good. I like the style that he writes it in. It's almost, it's as the main character is like writing a diary and telling stories. That I really appreciated. New style of writing, which I hadn't seen before. So that was very good. Next news story to come out of Japan is, this was a cool story. I did a little short on this, but I thought I'd tell it here on the podcast. A man was in a convenience store in Japan, and he was going to steal beer out of the convenience store, and the staff were trying to stop him, but he wasn't really paying any attention to them, and he was just walking out. And then some lady just decides, you know what? Not on my watch. She takes him down, puts him in a headlock, and waits for the police to get there. The police come, and then she gets asked, did you have like any martial arts training, or why did you stop him? And she was like, no, I just like anime, and I've seen in animes they put people into headlocks, so I thought I'd copy it and wait for the police to come. Good job. I have to say, in the UK, Or would I do this, stop a man from stealing a six-pack of beer? Absolutely not. If someone was stealing a six-pack of beer next to me and was running out, I'd be like, I am not getting involved with this. You go, you head off. Six-pack of beer, you enjoy that beer. But good for this woman. The woman's name was Kairin Rio, and she managed to held him down. Apparently, the guy got quite violent and bit her. This is why I didn't want to get involved. I don't want to get hunks of flesh taken out of my arm for a six-pack of beer. Not worth it for me. But she held him down as the guy apparently took hunks out of her arm. Good for her. Very, very brave woman. I wouldn't have done it, but hey, good for you. Good for you. Next news story to come out of Japan is, there is a new pizza service coming out, which I am very jealous of. Here in Japan, I can't even get a pizza delivered to my house because I live far too in Naka. I live on a little island here. We don't have, there might be one or two delivery services knocking around here, which I haven't heard of. But yeah, I cannot get a pizza delivered to my house, which is very sad. But on the mainland in Japan, the company, which is Pizzala, I hope that's how I say it right. I'm pretty sure I butchered it the first time. Pizzala is a big pizza company in Japan, and they have just released a pizza that is made specifically for dogs. The dough is like a chicken blend, so they've got that as the base, and then on top they have what they called, I believe it was a chicken teriyaki. Yes, it was a teriyaki pizza on top, and it looks like sweet corn on the top, it's got mushrooms on the top. Looks pretty good for a dog. But of course, most people are wondering, could I eat this little pizza made for dogs? And the answer is yes, you could eat it. The price for this pizza is 880 yen, or $6 for a pizza for your dog. Would you get that? Would you buy? I mean, first of all, I'm seeing it with my parents now with our dog. Some people spoil their dogs far too much and forget that they're, just a little dog. They're something to have fun with. But I don't know if I would spend $6 on getting a pizza for my dog. That seems like a kind of waste for me. I wouldn't do it, but hey, there are people out there who obviously do, and good for them. I was very surprised that along with this pizza for dogs, they didn't release a pizza for cats where it's just like fish and stuff on it. But hey ho, that seems like a lost opportunity for me. That was something I would have done, and then you can market both of them at the same time. Make a cool news story. We're friendly for pets, but good for this company. We shall see what happens to that if any other news comes from that. And speaking about food, the next news story looks so good. I am actually considering leaving my island just to go to the mainland, just to try these two dishes because they look really, really good. McDonald's have just released a new sweet potato caramel chocolate pies for autumn. They have a caramel one which is pink and looks great, and I'll show the pictures here. And then they have a more chocolate one, which is the black one here, and they both look delicious. Don't these look good? They're only 180 yen and 160 yen, and they're in McDonald's. They're going to be running all through sort of autumn time. So if you're in Japan and you want something sweet, try one of these. These look so good. So good. Sweet potato food here, especially in the winter, is everywhere. And some of the sweets that you can get with sweet potato, I'm completely converted. They are so sweet and so delicious and so savory and feel perfect for autumn. So if you come here, definitely try these because they look amazing. And our next news story really is bananas. A zookeeper in Japan has been caught stealing food from the chimpanzees that he has been feeding. That's right, not only has this man been taking care of the chimpanzees, he has decided, you know what, you're getting too much food and I want some of it. So he's been taking some of it and no one knows what he's been doing with it. The police are currently investigating whether he took it for himself, whether he did it for resale, whether he was giving it to charity. I highly doubt he was giving it to charity, but we shall see what happens with this. But I have to say, with the price of fruit in Japan, I can almost understand this story, especially if he's been giving shine muscat grapes or something ridiculous. I think I would be like, you know what, maybe I'm going to take some grapes from this happy little chimpanzee. But very mean story. Would you ever steal food from a chimpanzee? Let me know. If they were getting shine muscat grapes, I think I might do it. If they were just getting ordinary normal grapes, not worth the hassle. The monkey can enjoy it. But I have to say, this chimpanzee is living better than me. I'm trying to think, when was the last time I had a piece of fruit? It's now Wednesday. And last week, I don't think I've had any fruit this week. No, I've had vegetables this week. I haven't had any fruit because it's too expensive and I don't want to waste my money at the moment. But that's not to say I've not been eating vegetables, I just haven't had any fruit. That's crazy. I should go eat a pear or an apple or something. That's not good for me. Next news story to come out of Japan for you is, this was a sad story that I wasn't very happy with. FamilyMart. If you've been to some of the FamilyMarts, you may have seen that they have seated areas. The one in Toshima has one, and I've been to other FamilyMarts in and around Tokyo and Fukuoka where they have them, and they're really, really handy. They're really useful if you're waiting for someone. In one of them, my phone was dead, and they had chargers to charge up your phone, which is brilliant, so I could charge up my phone and then go meet up with my friends. But FamilyMart has unfortunately announced that they're planning on getting rid of these places, which is ridiculous. I'll be gutted if the one in Toshima goes, because normally, if I've got a hangover, that's where I go down. I go and get a little bit of fried chicken. I then go and sit in the FamilyMart, drink some water and some lychee and some juice and pray for the hangover to go away. Where am I going to do this if this goes now? That's ridiculous. But the reason why that they're getting rid of these sort of seated places in FamilyMart is, if you guessed it, they make them no money. They take up space, they make them no money, and FamilyMart wants to do something more useful with them. And something which I didn't actually know is, if you are eating it inside the FamilyMart, you are meant to say, oh, by the way, I'm going to eat this here because the tax rate is higher. I have never heard this. I don't think I've ever been asked this before, but apparently it's a thing. I will say I rarely have sat in one of these things. I think I've maybe done it 5 or 6 times, most of them here in Toshima when I've had a hangover, but apparently there's a 2% higher tax rate that you're meant to pay for eating in food. We have a similar thing in the UK with Greggs. There was a lot of comedian stories about this, you know, having to buy a sausage roll, and if you eat it there, you had to pay like 20 extra p. This is something which is very stupid. They should just charge whatever the one tax rate is for it, but the government like their tax. But apparently you are meant to pay an extra tax if you sit in the restaurant and eat it. So who knew? Not me, that's for sure. But I'm very sad that these seating areas are going to go, especially because they've got chargers in. If you're lost in Tokyo, if you're lost in Fukuoka and your battery's dead, these are really good places just to sit, get your bearings, and then go on. Where are people going to do that now? I've also seen kids studying there. I've seen kids hanging out there. And, you know, it's not on the streets. It's inside. That's somewhere safe. Sad to see these go. I wish FamilyMart would reconsider this. But, oh well, unfortunately, if it doesn't make the money, it's a tough decision. But they've got to get rid of it. That's the way of the world, unfortunately. Very, very sad way of the world. But next news story coming for you from Japan is, this was a great one. Thinking about food. If you're like me, price of fruit extraordinarily expensive. Are you good at crane machines? Me? Yes, I think I'm pretty good at them. I used to be very good, but I haven't played them in a while. Sometimes I can do it in one, sometimes it takes me a lot longer than that. But now there is a place in Okayama, I hope that's how you say it right. A farm there which has its own little farming store has put a crane machine inside it, and you can actually win muscat fruit if you can get it in 1 or 2. And I love the sound of this because muscat grapes are very expensive, but for the price of 100 yen, you can get grapes that are worth 1,000 yen. That is amazing. If you're good at getting the old claw machine, is it worth a gamble? I think this is way better than winning a stuffed toy or something else. I want to win expensive fruit. Go into Fukuoka, put these everywhere. I would be sitting there all day trying to get expensive fruit. I certainly would. So inside these claw machines at the moment, they have strawberries and grapes, and I believe, I was trying to see, I'm sure somewhere in the story I saw that they put peaches, or that might just be, it looks like that there's a peach in the photo, but these are cool. I'd love the thought of that. I want these everywhere in Japan that you can try and win fruit. Oh, absolutely. If my supermarket had one of these outside of the store where I could win like 1,000 yen grapes every time, I would go in there every week and have one go at it and see if I can get it or not. Is my luck with me? Will I be able to eat fruit today? That's super fun. I love that. Absolutely love that. Would you have a go on one of these fruit claw machines? No, no. The only thing that is a bit worrying is when it drops. Is that going to get bruised? Because that's quite, it's quite a little drop. But hey ho, 1,000 yen for a little bruise. I'll take that all day, every day, baby. Next news story to come out of Japan is we've got another little food one for you. I think this is the last of our food ones. Pizza Hut is adding what it calls a guilty secret sandwich to its menu for a limited time, and it looks pretty good. I have to say, I'll put a picture of it up here. It is fried chicken in, which looks like it's more like a bready dough instead of like a sandwich. They call this a sandwich, but it looks like pizza dough, which they've then wrapped around it. It looks like they've got a little bit of bacon and cheese on it, and it looks very, very good. It looks very, very unhealthy as well, but the pictures of it, I was like, oh yeah, I would definitely eat that if I was in Tokyo. Absolutely. Looks very, very fun. So, would you eat this monstrosity? Would you eat pizza dough, fried chicken, bacon and cheese and eat it all up? I know what you're thinking out there. Absolutely, I would. Unless you're being healthy, then you'll say no. And if you are, good for you. That's what you need to do, is keep your life ticking over. Next news story for you is, oh yeah, this was this crazy news story going on about a World War II bomb exploded in a Miyazaki airport. So this bomb, which had been left from World War II, which I couldn't believe it was underneath the runway of all places, off an airport. I would have thought this would have been collected over the years, or somehow they would have found it, because we're so far past World War II now that they would have found it. But no, it went off, and now at the airport they're still doing searches around the airport to see if they can find any more of these unexploded bombs. But it was a crazy news story. It was coming all over Japan. I'm very glad that I've never been to Miyazaki Airport, and how lucky we are that this bomb, A, lasted so long without going off, and B, went off and it didn't damage or kill anyone. I think, looking at the photos here, all it's done is damage the side of the runway. It doesn't even look like that big of damage. I mean, that looks like something that a competent tradesman could fix, and something that even I'm looking at and be like, I can fix that. That doesn't look too bad. That is pretty easy. I'm lying to myself, but there we go. And what other news story we got coming out for you here? We've got Shinkansen's turned 60. This was an interesting news story that I saw coming out. A record number of firms this week have declared bankruptcy, and the reason that they've put down on the forms is because lack of staff. Due to shortage of staff, they couldn't get enough staff in time, and their business closed because of it. One of the particular areas that are having problems with this is logistic firms. They're saying that they're struggling to get people who drive trucks and do that sort of thing. And it's interesting to see that Japan's population shortage might already be becoming a problem for Japan. We're also, of course, they're looking now at bringing in more people like me, people who are from outside of Japan, immigrants, to come and work on these in Japan. But I haven't seen or heard many news stories of truck drivers being imported in. So would be good if they can get some of these. Is this the true reason why the companies went bankrupt? Because you never know when people are filling out these forms if they're being honest or if that's the truth. I would be surprised. I mean, maybe that is true. If you can't get the staff, you can't get your staff, your business struggles, and that's it. You go bust. But maybe just something interesting to note, that some business have been going out of Japan because they're saying they can't get enough staff to run their company, which I thought, of all the problems to have, not having enough staff, I never thought would be a problem to go out of business. But hey, I guess it can happen to people. And that is pretty much it for every news story that's been going on here in Japan in the last couple of weeks. I hope you've had an absolutely fantastic day. We've got a 3-day weekend coming up here. I have been writing a few more short stories, which have been very fun. This week I turned a short story into a little anime, which I'm maybe 90% happy with. I'm not very happy with my voice, because I did it by myself and I'm sick at the moment. And I couldn't do any other different voices. This is the only voice that I could do consistently. So I think I've got 4, maybe 5, I got 4 characters in that voice that are all voiced by me in the same voice, so it doesn't sound particularly good. I am happy with how the animation turned out. I'm getting really interested in animation and how to do it. I wish I could draw. It really is a huge problem of mine, that I want to make more animations like this and better animations, but I'm limited to what I can make with like AI art, because I just simply cannot draw. But we'll see. I'm using it to write more short stories and get them out, because I find when you write a short story, it just leaves, it gets left behind, no one looks at it, it just stays on a computer somewhere, and it's very nice that I can put them somewhere and make use of them. Today I wrote a short story just about one person, and very, very short. I think it's going to be about a minute, 2 minutes, and hopefully that's going to be funny when that comes out. So that will probably be in the next month or two. We'll see what happens with that. Just got to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. That's very nice. Very happy with that. And that is it. I mean, it took me a long time, sort of a long time, putting up videos almost every day since January. And I got to this week to do it. So it took me, I would say, 9 months of consistently putting up videos every day, and then a few weeks here and there where I've been busy moving stuff. August was a particularly bad month for me putting up videos, because I was in Tokyo seeing my family and moving house, so videos got sort of messed up, but I'm back putting them pretty consistently now, so that's been cool. It's been interesting learning a lot of different new skills. I'm very pleased that when I go back and watch videos that are 9 months old, I have improved dramatically. I mean, even the way I'm speaking is better. The lighting is better, of course, because I bought some lights and a green screen. My editing has got much better. My sound design has got much better. Everything has got much better. But, you know, there are levels to these things. I thought I was getting really good, because the other day I showed someone how to do stuff on Premiere, and I was like, oh, I'm getting pretty good at Premiere. Then this week there's someone who used to be a graphic designer who I work with, and I asked them to show me some stuff on Illustrator, and the way that they were moving so quickly, they knew all the key commands on it. Bear in mind, they're speaking to me in Japanese, so I need people to like slow down when they're doing it anyway. She was like using all the key commands, going, she was so rapid on it that I was like, whoa, okay, there are complete levels to this. I thought I was getting good, but I'm nowhere near getting good. I'm still pretty much beginner. She is like expert level. And, you know, the fact that she has been out of graphic design for a few years now, she's probably going to be very rusty compared to some of the other people who do it. So I was like, whoa, you can get really, really good at this. And there's such like a barrier to entry. It's crazy. But that's been everything that's been going on here. I've got a new video that's probably going to come out in the next couple of days, where I'm looking at my favorite Japanese myths, talking some more about some of the ones that I put in my book, which is really fun. So I look forward to that. And that's pretty much it for this week. I have said everything I need to say. Thank you very much for listening or watching. If you're watching this on YouTube, have an absolutely fantastic day. And if you come up against any interesting news stories you want me to talk about, hit me up on YouTube, put me a message on there, and I'll see if I can, or comment, and I'll see if I can look into the news story. Thank you very much for watching. Have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day. Goodbye.